The mockery. The galaxy was wide and full of empires that had existed for thousands of years. In the halls of the Galactic Council, leaders from every starfaring race gathered under the glow of silver light that hung from the high ceiling. Their voices filled the chamber, echoing in arrogance, filled with pride from their long histories of war and conquest. To them, Earth was nothing more than a small and fragile world, a planet too young to be respected. They looked at the humans as children playing with wooden toys in a battlefield of steel giants. One tall figure, a scaled warlord from the Creel Dominion, rose and slammed his claw against the table. His laughter shook through the chamber as he showed a hologram of Earth's defense fleets. Small ships, outdated technology, and fragile shields shimmered in the air for all to see. "These are their guardians," he mocked. "Barely more than transports with guns strapped on them. They think this will keep us away? They think these thin shields can stand against us?" The chamber burst into cruel laughter. A dozen alien rulers leaned forward, amused at the thought. The long-armed Cathan Prime Minister covered his sharp mouth as if to hide his smirk, but his eyes glowed with cruel delight. The ancient Othari Queen, whose people had lived in the stars before humans even discovered fire, chuckled softly and waved a jeweled hand. "Earth is a soft fruit," she said. "It can be plucked without effort. Its shields are glass, its fleets are toys, and its people still argue about who leads them." Every word of scorn was met with agreement. The chamber filled with voices describing how Earth would break, how its defenses would collapse at the first strike. To them, humanity was too late to join the stars. The galaxy had already been carved into kingdoms and empires, and Earth was nothing but a small island surrounded by oceans of power. But as they mocked, as they laughed and filled the air with arrogance, Earth listened. Far below, on the blue planet itself, leaders watched the council recordings broadcast through hidden channels. Soldiers stood silent in their bases. Engineers worked deep underground, never looking up from their consoles. No one answered the mockery. No one defended Earth with words. Instead, Earth remained quiet, a silence heavier than thunder. The people of Earth had been called weak before. They had been mocked as primitive when they first sent signals into space. They had been ignored when they sent their first colony ships beyond the solar system. Even when their first warship entered foreign space, it was greeted not with respect but with laughter. The galaxy did not know how humans remembered every insult. They did not know how humans stored every scar. Back in the Galactic Council, the Creel warlord stood again, pointing toward the hologram. "We should not wait. We should strike. Crush them before they think themselves our equals. Take their resources, their planet, their people. Earth should serve the galaxy, not stand beside it." The hall cheered. Some demanded fleets. Others demanded tribute. Many saw Earth as a lesson, a warning to any young world that dreamed of rising. The word spread through the star systems like fire. News anchors and alien broadcasts laughed at humanity. Merchants sold posters mocking Earth's defenses. Children of alien empires played games where human ships were broken like twigs. Across the galaxy, Earth became a joke, a fragile world to laugh at. But under that laughter, under the noise of alien pride, there was something they did not see. Humanity had already accepted that it was mocked. Humanity had already decided it would never answer with words. For decades in silence they had been building. Deep in hidden shipyards, far from alien eyes, something massive had taken shape. Workers whispered of it but never named it. Leaders kept it locked away in secret files. Soldiers trained for it without ever seeing it. The galaxy laughed because they only looked at Earth's small fleets. They saw the surface, the fragile shields, the weak lines of defense. They never looked deeper. They never asked why Earth stayed silent. In the quiet rooms of Earth's command, men and women watched the broadcasts. Their faces did not show anger. They did not speak of revenge. Instead, they looked at the silence of space beyond their screens and waited. For Earth knew something that the galaxy did not. Humanity was mocked today, but tomorrow would bring something else. And so the laughter grew. Alien rulers toasted their own cleverness, convinced Earth would fall. They sharpened their claws and polished their fleets. Their spies sent reports of human weakness, confirming what they already believed. Not one of them saw the shadow that waited in silence. Not one of them imagined what would come when Earth decided to show its true hand. The galaxy laughed at Earth's fragile shields, but deep within the silence of Earth's orbit, the future was already alive. Hidden beyond the eyes of the Council, behind veils of secrecy and silence, the Titan waited. The first strike. The alien council did not wait long. Their fleets gathered like storm clouds, moving through the void with the confidence of hunters who had already seen their prey fall. The Creel Dominion sent its dreadnoughts, black ships lined with spines like blades. The Cathan Prime Minister ordered a fleet of cruisers with long arms that could crush asteroids into dust. The Othari Queen sent her golden carriers, each carrying squadrons of swift fighters. Dozens of empires joined in, eager to taste Earth's weakness. As the fleets approached the solar system, alien broadcasts filled the airwaves. They spoke in mocking tones, laughing at the fragile shields that waited around Earth. News anchors showed glowing maps of Earth's small defenses and predicted how long the planet would last. Some said 3 days, others said only 1. In their arrogance, some declared Earth would be broken in hours. On Earth, silence spread across the cities. The people looked at the sky knowing that death could fall from it at any moment. Families gathered holding each other tightly. Soldiers stood ready in bases, but even they whispered among themselves about how small their ships were compared to the massive fleets that approached. Command centers buzzed with low voices, calm but heavy with fear. Earth's defense fleet lifted from the planet, a line of fragile ships with shields that glowed faintly in the darkness. They moved to meet the storm. Their formation spread across the sky like a thin wall. From space, they looked like sparks of light standing against a tide of fire. The first clash came quickly. Alien dreadnoughts fired beams of energy that cut through the void like lightning. Earth ships raised their shields, but the impact tore them apart. The fragile barriers shattered with bursts of white light. Hulls cracked, metal screamed, and human ships broke under the weight of the alien strike. From the council chambers across the galaxy, rulers cheered. Their laughter echoed through channels, filling the networks with pride. The Creel warlord leaned forward, claws tapping on the table as his voice roared with delight. See how they fall. See how their shields crumble like sand in the wind. The Cathan Prime Minister smirked as his fleets advanced. Their defenses are thin glass. Every strike cuts them deeper. Soon there will be nothing left but ashes. On Earth, the commanders watched as ships were destroyed one by one. The silence in the command room was thick, broken only by the quiet voices of officers reporting losses. Yet no one panicked. No one gave up. Behind the fear there was something else, something hidden like a shadow waiting to rise. The alien fleets pressed forward. Fighters streaked through the darkness, cutting through Earth's smaller ships. Carriers released more waves, filling the sky with a storm of enemy craft. Human pilots fought bravely, their voices tight with fear but steady with resolve. They knew their shields would not hold, but they did not break. They gave their lives to buy time. Across the world, citizens watched in silence as feeds showed Earth's ships falling. The news spoke of despair, of hopelessness. Yet some faces did not look away. Some eyes were fixed on the skies with a strange calmness, as if waiting for something that had not yet arrived. Then, from deep within Earth's command centers, coded signals were sent. Silent messages left the planet, pulsing through secure lines hidden from alien eyes. No alien ship detected them. No alien sensor caught their meaning. They were not orders to retreat. They were not cries for help. They were something else, something the galaxy could not understand. The alien fleets pressed closer, their confidence growing. They mocked through open channels, taunting the human commanders. "Is this all you have?" One alien captain sneered. "You fight with sparks while we hold firestorms. You should have bent your knees before us," but Earth's commanders did not answer. They remained silent, their eyes fixed on something far beyond the battle. They knew what the coded signals meant. They knew what was about to wake. The alien council grew louder in its celebration. Their voices carried through star systems, declaring victory before it was fully won. "Earth is broken," the Othari Queen declared. "Their shields are dust, their fleets are ruins. Soon we will drink from their oceans and stand upon their mountains as masters." And still Earth stayed quiet. The laughter grew, but beneath it the silence deepened. The galaxy thought it was the silence of death. They thought it was the silence of surrender. But for humanity, silence was never weakness. It was preparation. The alien fleets closed in on Earth itself. They spread wide, ready to strike the planet's surface. Weapons were armed, aimed at the cities below. To the galaxy, this was the final moment, the last strike that would erase Earth's pride forever. But then, the coded signals reached their destination. Deep in the shadow of orbit, beyond the eyes of alien fleets, something began to move. The first strike had come, and Earth's defenses had broken. Yet in that breaking, something else was about to rise. The awakening. The alien fleets closed in, their ships stretching across the sky like a wall of fire. Earth's smaller vessels were shattered, their shields burning out one by one. Explosions lit the dark, leaving trails of debris that fell toward the blue planet below. The galaxy's rulers celebrated, convinced that Earth was broken. To them, it was already over. Humanity had no hope left. But in the silence of space, something stirred. At first, it was only a ripple in the darkness, a faint disturbance beyond the reach of alien sensors. The enemy fleets pressed forward, blind to the shadow that moved at the edge of orbit. Within Earth's command centers, the coded signals reached their destination. Massive gates opened in hidden shipyards, carved into asteroids and buried beneath orbital debris. From these shadows, a shape began to emerge, the Titan-class warship. It was larger than any vessel the galaxy had ever seen. Its hull stretched for miles, forged from alloys unknown to alien science. Its surface shimmered with fields of light that shifted like living fire, bending and twisting in silence. Cannons lined its flanks, each one the size of a smaller warship, their barrels glowing faintly with restrained power. Its bridge was hidden deep within, protected by layers of armor and shield matrices that pulsed like the heart of a star. The Titan moved slowly at first, its engines releasing a low hum that rolled through the void. The sound carried through the silence, reaching the ears of human commanders with a weight that filled their chests. Pilots in broken ships stopped in awe, staring at the giant that rose behind them. Even in despair, hope returned to their voices. Alien sensors finally caught the disturbance. Reports screamed through enemy channels, voices sharp with sudden fear. Something is moving. Something massive. The Creel warlord snarled from his throne, leaning forward as if his claws could reach through the distance. What is this? What trick are they hiding? The Titan warship left the shadows fully, its body glowing against the stars. It was a sight no one in the galaxy had imagined. It dwarfed dreadnoughts and carriers alike, casting long shadows over the fleets that had mocked Earth. For the first time, the laughter fell silent. From the Galactic Council chambers, the rulers stared in disbelief. Holograms of the Titan filled their walls, showing a ship so large it seemed unreal. The Othari Queen gripped her jeweled staff so tightly that her knuckles turned pale. The Kathan Prime Minister's smirk vanished, replaced by a trembling jaw. They had called Earth weak, fragile, a planet of toys. But this was no toy. This was a beast. On Earth, the command centers came alive. Officers shouted with renewed courage, their voices strong and filled with energy. The Titan had been their secret, hidden for decades, built in silence while the galaxy mocked them. Engineers and scientists had given their lives to design it. Workers had labored in hidden stations, never speaking of what they built. Generations had waited for this moment, knowing the day would come when Earth would need a shield greater than any laughter. The Titan's engines roared as it moved into position between Earth and the invading fleets. Its shields flared, glowing with energy that twisted alien scans into static. Alien dreadnoughts locked their weapons, but hesitation crept into their commands. They had seen powerful ships before, but never one like this. Inside the Titan, human crews stood at their posts. Pilots guided squadrons from its vast hangars. Gunners gripped controls, ready to unleash fire. Commanders stared at the enemy through massive screens, their eyes calm, their hands steady. They had been waiting for this moment their entire lives. The alien captains tried to laugh again, their voices forced and strained. It is only one ship, they told themselves. One ship cannot face the fleets of the galaxy, but their words trembled. Their crews felt the truth pressing on them like a weight. This was no ordinary ship. This was Earth's answer. The Creel warlord shouted across the channels. Fire! Destroy it before it moves again! Alien fleets turned their weapons on the Titan, unleashing a storm of energy beams and missiles. The sky lit up with fire as the galaxy's might crashed against Earth's creation. And then, the Titan answered. Its shields did not shatter. They flared with light, bending the beams into harmless sparks. Missiles exploded against its surface like raindrops striking stone. From within its heart, the Titan's cannons awoke. The first shot roared through the void, a beam of light so fierce it tore a Creel dreadnought in half. The second shot followed, breaking a carrier into dust. The alien fleets froze. Their laughter was gone. Their pride was gone. All that remained was silence, heavy and suffocating, as they watched the Titan move forward. Humanity had shown its hand. Earth was no longer the fragile planet they mocked. Earth was no longer the weak world they laughed at. The Titan warship had awakened, and with it humanity's true strength. The Titan warship floated between Earth and the enemy fleets like a mountain of steel and fire. Its engines glowed faintly, its shields shimmered like an invisible storm, and its cannons hummed with quiet power. Every human eye watched in silence. Every alien eye stared in disbelief. The galaxy had mocked Earth for weakness, but now it looked upon a weapon beyond imagination. The first blasts from the Titan had already torn apart dreadnoughts and carriers, leaving wreckage drifting like broken bones across the void. But the battle was far from over. The alien fleets outnumbered Earth's defenders 100 to 1. They still held the skies with vast armadas of cruisers, destroyers, and fighter wings. They still believed that numbers could crush strength. The Creel warlord roared across the channels, his voice filled with anger. Do not falter. It is one ship. Overwhelm it, bury it under fire, and tear it apart. His orders spread like wildfire, and the alien armadas surged forward. The sky lit up with the fury of 1,000 cannons. Energy beams cut through the dark. Missiles streaked like burning stars, and plasma shells exploded against the Titan's shields. The void became a storm of fire. Inside the Titan, crews braced as the ship shook under the assault. The shields flared bright, bending the fury away, but the pressure was immense. Every strike that failed to break the Titan still shook its walls. Engineers worked fast, reinforcing layers of defense, pouring power from the core into the shield generators. Voices shouted across the command bridge, calm but urgent, yet the Titan did not fall. It answered. Its cannons roared in unison, sending beams of light so sharp they carved through fleets like blades through paper. One shot split a Cathan cruiser into molten fragments. Another crushed a wave of Othari fighters in a single burst. Torpedo bays opened, unleashing storms of guided fire that tore through enemy formations. Every strike was precise, devastating, unstoppable. Humanity's smaller ships rallied behind the Titan, their courage renewed. Fighters launched from its vast hangars, streaking out to shield the weaker vessels. Frigates and destroyers, once broken and scattered, formed tight wings around the Titan, striking with speed and fury. The humans fought like wolves circling a giant, tearing at their enemies with teeth of steel and flame. Alien fleets began to break. Captains shouted orders with fear in their voices. Some ships turned to flee, but retreat was impossible in the chaos. The Titan pushed forward, a wall of unstoppable force splitting enemy lines and crushing them one by one. In the council chambers, the rulers stared at the battlefeeds. Their laughter was gone, their pride swallowed by silence. They watched their fleets burn, their champions destroyed, their weapons turned to ash. The Othari queen trembled, her jeweled staff slipping from her hands. The Cathan prime minister could not speak, his lips moving with words that never came. Even the Creel warlord, fierce and proud, fell quiet as he watched his dreadnoughts crumble. Still, the Titan pressed on. The alien armadas regrouped, throwing everything they had in desperation. Entire squadrons sacrificed themselves, diving at the Titan's shields in suicidal charges. Massive cruisers focused all power into one final volley, beams brighter than suns, missiles faster than lightning. For a moment, the Titan's shields flared dangerously, their edges glowing white. Engineers shouted, alarms screamed, and the ship shook with the weight of the galaxy's fury. But then the Titan's core unleashed its hidden strength. Energy surged through its systems, stabilizing the shields, feeding the cannons, empowering every strike. Its counterattack was like a storm breaking against a mountain. Dreadnoughts exploded one after another. Carriers were torn in half. Fighters vanished in waves of fire. For the first time in history, the galaxy saw its strongest fleets turn and run. Voices filled the alien channels, panicked and broken. We cannot hold. Retreat, retreat. Commanders ordered withdrawals, their voices cracking. Ships abandoned formations, fleeing into the void. The once proud armadas became scattered remnants, broken under the shadow of one ship. On Earth, people cheered through tears. Families that had waited in silence cried out in joy. Soldiers who thought they would die now stood tall, shouting the name of the Titan with pride. For generations, Earth had been mocked as fragile, weak, and unworthy. Now it had answered with fire. The Titan warship floated among the ruins of fleets that had once shaken the galaxy. Its hull glowed faintly from battle scars, its shields dimmed but still alive. Around it, smaller human ships circled like guardians. The void was filled with the wreckage of enemies, a graveyard of arrogance and pride. Humanity had stood against the galaxy, and the galaxy had broken. But the battle was more than a victory. It was a message, a promise. Earth was no longer the fragile world mocked in council chambers. It was no longer a soft fruit to be plucked. The Titan had spoken for humanity, and its voice was thunder. The reckoning, the battle was over. The vast fleets that had come to destroy Earth were now silent wrecks drifting through the void. Fires burned in the darkness. Torn ships scattered like broken bones across the black sea of space. The Titan warship floated above it all, scarred but unbroken, its shield still shimmering faintly, its cannons still glowing with quiet power. On Earth, the silence broke at last. Cities that had waited in fear erupted in cheers. Families ran into the streets, their voices rising as one. Soldiers embraced, their faces wet with tears they had held back too long. Across the blue planet, people whispered the same name with awe, Titan. It was no longer only a ship. It had become a symbol, a promise that humanity was no longer weak, no longer prey to be mocked. In the chambers of the Galactic Council, the rulers sat in stunned silence. The Creel warlord who had laughed loudest sat frozen, his claws trembling against the table. The Athari queen, who had called Earth a soft fruit, could not lift her jeweled staff from the floor. The Cathan prime minister stared at the holograms of burning fleets, his sharp mouth open but voiceless. The council, once filled with laughter and arrogance, was now drowned in shame. The surviving captains of alien fleets sent desperate transmissions. Some begged for orders, others pleaded for rescue. Many simply fled into the void, unwilling to face the monster Earth had unleashed. Their voices reached the council chambers, full of panic and despair. For the first time in centuries, the galaxy's proud rulers had no answer. The Titan warship did not chase the fleeing ships. It did not fire upon the survivors. Instead, it hovered in silence, its vast shadow stretching across Earth below. The message was clear without words. Humanity did not need to boast. It did not need to laugh. Its strength spoke for itself. Across the galaxy, news of the battle spread faster than light. Merchants who had once sold mocking posters of Earth now tore them down in shame. Children of alien empires no longer played games where human ships were broken like twigs. Now they whispered stories of the Titan, the unstoppable ship that had turned fleets to dust. Worlds that had never spoken the name of Earth before now repeated it in hushed tones. Fear mixed with respect, and both grew stronger with every retelling. For centuries, the galaxy had mocked humanity for being young, fragile, and unworthy. Now it whispered a different truth. Humanity was dangerous. Humanity was powerful. And humanity had patience unlike any other. For while the galaxy laughed, Earth had built. While the galaxy mocked, Earth had prepared. And when the time came, Earth had answered with thunder. Inside the Titan's command bridge, the human admiral stood before the screens. His face was calm, but his eyes were sharp with fire. He looked at the wreckage that filled the void and then at the stars beyond. He knew this was not the end. Today, Earth had defended itself. Tomorrow, the galaxy would decide whether to fear or respect it. "Stand down weapons," the admiral ordered. "Hold position." The Titan's guns dimmed, its cannons cooling like the breath of a giant. The crews inside did not celebrate with loud voices. They sat in silence, their hearts heavy with the knowledge of what had been done. They had not just fought a battle. They had changed the course of history. The Galactic Council could no longer pretend that Earth was weak. They could no longer mock its shields or laugh at its fleets or dismiss its people as children among giants. Humanity had claimed its place with fire and steel. The Titan warship had shown the galaxy that Earth's silence was not surrender. It was warning. In the weeks that followed, whispers spread across every star system. Some spoke with fear, saying humanity would become a conqueror, that Earth would now rise to rule through terror. Others spoke with awe, hoping for alliance, hoping to stand beside the humans instead of against them. But all agreed on one truth. The age of mocking Earth was over. Back on the planet itself, life slowly returned to motion. Children played again in the streets. Families rebuilt what had been lost. But above them, the Titan remained, floating like a guardian. Its shadow stretched across oceans and mountains, a reminder that humanity had built something greater than fear. It had built a shield that no laughter could break. The galaxy had laughed at Earth's fragile shields. It had called humanity weak and helpless. But in the end, when the Titan warship appeared, the galaxy learned a lesson it would never forget. Earth was not fragile. Earth was not weak. Humanity was strong, silent, and unstoppable when the moment demanded. The Titan drifted in the quiet of space, watching over the world it had sworn to protect. It did not speak. It did not need to. Its presence alone was enough, a symbol, a warning, and a promise, and so the galaxy's laughter died, replaced forever by silence.